What's going on, everybody? This is the Ball Up Shot podcast, YouTube show. We're doing the Kevin Durant Sweepstakes, which is our current series where we just discuss the best possible deal, one-on-one deals for Kevin Durant. Since he asked for a trade, I feel like everybody should kick the tires and call Brooklyn and see what they can offer. That being said, the biggest rumors have been Boston, and we have not done Boston yet, so I figure now's as good time as any. We're using the fanspo.com trade machine. It's probably the most comprehensive trade machine we use. It's a lot of fun. I suggest you guys go into and look to it if this is something you like to do. We're gonna go ahead and move to Kevin Durant over. That's $44 million that the Celtics have to move. Now, this deal begins and ends with having to either have Tatum or Brown going. Um, Most people, a large majority, would say Tatum has got to stay. Tatum is younger. Um, Tatum has the higher upside. Jalen Brown is probably the better all around player, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and plays with more of a chip. I feel like he has improved his growth has been larger than the NBA than Jason Tatum's. Um, but if you're Boston, you could probably get away with giving up less if you give up Jason Tatum. That being said, they're not going to give up Jason Tatum. So that makes Jalen Brown the trade piece. And honestly, if I'm Brooklyn, I love getting Jalen Brown because he plays with a chip on his shoulder, because he plays hard. Like he is a guy who may even flourish more after being traded. So then the question becomes, what else? Because you're still roughly $16 million short. Um, so the current deal has them offering Marcus Smart, and I don't think Boston loves Marcus Smart. The fans love Marcus Smart. Brad Steven loves Marcus Smart. I don't think Marcus Smart is the move. I honestly think that it's going to end up being like Robert Williams. Robert Williams like is $11 million. Because remember, like I do feel like Brooklyn knows that after they make this deal, they're not a championship contender. They want to be in the mix with a puncher's chance. And so they also want to come down some on salary. But with both teams being over the cap, they can't come down like a huge number. And I don't think they're going to want Derek White. I don't think they can't get Brogdon, which the Celtics are going to look to keep Brogdon because I look the Celtics starting lineup at that point is a solid one. When you're looking at Durant, Tatum, Horford, Brogdon, and Marcus Smart, like that's a championship lineup. So you look, it's like, okay, what else? Because they're going to want to close that gap just a little bit more with something that they like. Um, this is not Boston from these few years ago where they have all these great young players either. I'm looking, I see two-way players. Like there's not. I think they try to swing it with just this. The thing is they don't want to just take on players just to be taking on players. I mean, I think that you might ask for Grant Williams, but I don't know if that's a deal that can be made. I don't know if that you're going to want to make that deal. And I like Grant Williams, but it's something. It's so let's look at the draft picks. What does Boston have to give up? The reason that Brooklyn is so big on draft picks, huge on draft picks, is because they got rid of all of theirs. They can't trade their 24 pick because of the stipend rule, and they just traded their 23 pick to the Pacers. So you look at 25, 27, and 29. This should be a deal enough to get that deal done. They're getting an all-star caliber player. They're getting a young player with high upside, and they're getting 3 first-round picks. This should be enough to get that deal done. Is it? I don't know. At times, Brooklyn seems like they're asking for more than teams can afford. And the important thing to understand is nobody is going to give them so much that it hurts the reason they were bringing Durant over, which is to try to get a championship. So it's not like you're like, oh, well, we want Tatum and Brown. Like, that's not going to happen, which is probably the same reason they would go with the safer bet of keeping Tatum to begin with. But 3 first-round picks starting in 25. Because the thing about trading an older player is the further out those first-round picks are, the more likely it's going to come to be a bonus for you. Boston's a little different because even with Durant's age, Jason Tatum is only going to grow into a better player. But I feel like this is probably the fairest deal you're going to see for both sides. Let's give it a try. And it failed. Why? Oh, because I miscalculated draft picks. That's why they can't trade. I told you this is the stipend rule. It's a problem. So let's go back. Let's go look at these draft picks. Did not really realize that Boston had already traded their 28 pick, which makes this a bigger problem. Because if you can't trade your 27, you can't trade your 29 because they've already moved that 28. So then what they would have to do is you can trade the 25. You can make the 24 a swap. You can make the 26 a swap. You can make the 27 a swap. And you can make the 29 a swap. And then give them a couple seconds. Boston is a unique position where they can't really just trade picks right now. So yeah, that's this deal will probably go through. Like I said, we're gonna make all those pick swaps, and yeah, it works out financially. Celtics increase 4 million. The Nets go down 4 million, which I think they would love. You give them the 25 pick, and you basically swap them through until 29. Overall, it would make Boston's already a contender, so it probably would make them the favorites. Brooklyn, depending on what they do with Kyrie, becomes a lot deeper. I think they're a stronger team. I don't know if they're a stronger team, but the mystery is gone. Like there's more of a solid foundation considering that Brown still has 2 years left. Robert Williams has 4. It's more of a solid foundation. But that's all we got for you for this episode. Kevin Durant Sweepstakes, Boston Celtics. Please feel free to like, subscribe, comment, follow, do all those fun things. Check out our YouTube page, our Instagram page, at Ball Top Podcast, our Twitter page, at Ball Top Pod. We love interacting with you guys. The regular podcast is coming back in the late summer, early fall for the basketball season. Until then, guys, enjoy your time. Enjoy the summer. Peace.